Hi there, my name's Kevin. Welcome to the pit. Today we're going to smoke a turkey for Thanksgiving. I'm going to show you how it's done. Come on, let's go. To begin, the best way to smoke a turkey involves doing a brine. Our brine is going to be done in this cooler. As you can see, I put some trash bags in here for easy cleanup. There's also a bag of ice, which we'll be taking out and replacing with our turkey. Then we'll put the ice on top to keep it cool. There's our bad boy right there. Look at him. He's fat, he's juicy, and he's, well, good and dead. We're going to go ahead and put him in the garbage bags right now. And once we do that, we'll add the mixture of brine. And we'll just place them down here in the garbage bags. Now, the garbage bags are just really for easy cleanup. You could put them straight in the cooler if you wanted to. My wife doesn't like to clean the cooler, and neither do I. So we're going to use the garbage bags. Some of the first things we're going to put in our brine are apple juice. I'm going to put all 3 of these containers in there. You can use less or more, it doesn't really matter. I'm also going to use some apple cider vinegar with this, just give it a little snap. And you can use the whole gallon. You can use less than a gallon. You can add water. We'll be adding some water to this. You want to make sure that the turkey is fully submerged in liquid. That's very important. You don't want to leave any part of this turkey uncovered by the brine. Some of the things we'll be putting in this brine are onion. We've got some orange for a little citrus flavor. I've got some garlic, of course. I went ahead and pre-quartered the onion and the orange. The garlic I've pre-smashed, peeled and everything. I'm going to show you a little trick about peeling garlic. A lot of people don't like to peel garlic. It's kind of hard. It's kind of a pain in the chops. Everybody doesn't like to do it. You just take your garlic before you peel it, set it down, give it a smash, and it falls right out of the peel. You don't have any peel there. It just falls right out. It's real easy. All my garlic is just kind of smashed up enough. You don't need to smush it too much. You just want to release the flavor of the garlic. So it's not necessary to do a lot to it. All of it goes in. I'm going to use a little crushed red pepper. When I say a little, I mean the rest of the jar. You know, I say there's nothing that, needs to be in this brine more than a nice big can of Miller Lite. There is nothing like a fine Pilsner beer to add a little flavor to your turkey brine. I often say that if a fine Pilsner beer was offered up in the Middle East, the peace crisis would have already been solved. I think a lot can be learned through moderate use of a fine Pilsner beer. Like I said before, you can put anything you want to in this. I'm going to go with a little bit of paprika. It doesn't have to be a lot. It's got to be a lot more than that, though. Let's see if we can get some of it to come out here. There we go. And a little ground ginger. Again, not a lot, just enough to add the flavor to the brine mixture there. We're going to add just a few jalapenos to the mix. Okay, now as I said before, you want to make sure that your turkey is totally covered. So we're adding water, and the rest of our mix will be water. Let me just add this in here. It helps kind of stir up the ingredients a little bit. And we want to make sure this turkey's completely covered. We don't want any portion of this turkey uncovered. I'm going to do just a little more water. And that'll about do it. It completely covers the turkey up. Last thing I'm going to do is add ice. We want to make sure this turkey stays cool. We don't want this turkey contaminated and getting anybody sick, so ice is very important. Now that it's completely submerged and in ice, all the brine's done, we literally don't have to do anything else except close this cooler. This turkey will sit in this brine for anywhere from 16 to 24 hours, just depending on the time you have allowed. So we're going to let it sit in there till tomorrow morning, and tomorrow morning we'll come back, then we'll inject it, we'll rub it, and we'll put it in the smoker. One final thing about the brine. I don't want to forget to tell you this. I told you you could put anything in there that you want. It's not quite true. Obviously, you don't want to put poison in there. But as far as spices, you don't want to put salt in your brine. And I'm going to tell you why. If you don't want to salt meat until you're ready to eat. It's just that simple. Salt draws moisture out. I would never put salt on any meat that I'm trying to marinate in any way right before I eat it, or right before it goes on the grill if I'm grilling it, in the case of a steak. In other words, no salt in the brine. It'll counteract what you're trying to do. It won't make it moist. It'll help to dry it out later. Today we're going to be using the Masterbuilt Sportsman Elite Smoker. It's an electric smoker. I've used it several times and it does a great job. There's no need for big fancy smokers to do this. You can use a $99 smoker. You can use a charcoal smoker. Anything you have. This does a great job though, and it's very easy to use. In the smoker there's two trays. One we fill with wood chips and a little bit of water to keep them moist and get a little bit more smoke out of them. The next one usually you fill with water. I disagree, and since it's 7 o'clock in the morning I won't drink the rest of this, but I'm going to use a beer.
Doesn't matter what type of beer?
It doesn't matter what type of beer, really, whatever you like. If I had a cheaper beer, I'd probably use a cheaper beer, but I don't have a cheaper beer. So we're using Sapporo. So I went ahead and plugged in the smoker. We're going to let it heat up and start doing its thing while we go inside and take the turkey out of the brine and get it ready. So we've taken the turkey out of the brine. If you notice, it's got a little bit of a caramel color now. That's the brine soaking into the turkey, and it's done its job. It looks great. We're going to leave the thermometer in. I probably won't rely on that thermometer to actually take the turkey out, but I'm going to leave it in just as an indicator that it might be ready to start checking. We want to cook this to about 165 for the white meat, 185-ish for the dark meat. So we'll test those before we really take it out, but I'm going to leave that thermometer in just to make sure that it's about ready to start being tested. Over here we have what we're going to use to make this turkey taste great. Beyond the brine. The brine was just a start. The real secret here is the injector and the rub that we're going to put on it. We'll get started with that in just a second. Alright, you could use any marinade for this. We're going to use this Tony Chachere's or whatever it's called, injectables. You can make your own. There's recipes out there for it. I've got a few recipes for it. If enough of you say that you want to see a recipe for it, maybe 5 of you say that in the comments, then I'll actually do a video on the recipe, but that's a whole nother video and we don't have time for that today. This is a damn good marinade to inject if you're looking for one. It's garlic and herb, and that's what we're going to use on this turkey. I went ahead and poured some of the marinade into a bowl, and you just draw it into the injector. The turkey is on the rack that it's going to go in the smoker on, and I've put it breast side down to start with, but just for the injection purposes. When I turn it over, it will go in breast side up. We're going to start injecting the back. We are going to use a phenomenal amount of marinade in this bird. 2 entire bottles of marinade will go in this bird. It will be one of the juiciest, most succulent turkeys that you ever eat. You'll be amazed at how big this bird plumps up when we pump this marinade into it. It's going to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger turkey on steroids. There we go. Alright, so I've put the next bottle of marinade in the bowl. We are going to use this entire bowl full of marinade in this turkey. That's 2 entire containers, 17-ounce containers, 2 of them in one turkey. It will taste great. This side, what we do is take a little EVOO. We're going to baste it on this turkey. It's going to give us a nice golden brown color when it smokes, and also it helps to hold the rub that we're going to use on the turkey. It's a very important process. You could use cooking spray, you could use vegetable oil, any kind of oil that you happen to have. I like EVOO. Some people like peanut oil to give it kind of that same flavor they might have when they come out of the fryer. I like to avoid that for large crowds because you never know who has a peanut allergy. Next thing we're going to do is use this Tony Chachere's seasoning. It's a Cajun rub. It's great. Again, you can make your own rubs. I make my own rubs, and if enough of you guys say that you want a recipe for that, we'll do that too. You use it on here very liberally because a lot of it's going to fall off in the process of turning the turkey over and moving it back. So don't be afraid. Get it everywhere. It's not going to be too salty. It's not going to be too spicy. Don't worry about that. If you don't like spicy, don't use Cajun. That's what I got to tell you about that, because if, you know, why would you be Cajun rubbing a turkey that you don't like to eat spicy food? That's crazy. So I've just turned it over and got done spraying a little EVOO on it. We're going to do this very liberally. Sorry for the language. And we're going to get this nice and coated. Hopefully there's no scandals. This kind of makes a mess, but it's easier than turning the turkey, because if you turn the turkey, then a lot of the spice will come off where you turn it onto. So I just put it in my hand, kind of throw it on the sides a little bit. Easier to wash my hands than it is to get it back on the turkey. Now we see our temperature is right at 225. We'll bring that up around to 250. We don't want it to go north of 300, so if we can keep it between 225 and 275, that's really perfect. We just got it out of the smoker. It's a little dark, but that's just the skin. Watch this. And you can see the juice is just running out of that turkey. That is a moist, great turkey. All right, so we've let the turkey rest for approximately 20 minutes or so, and we're just gonna try and see what we've got here. We'll trim this breast up. Cut it right down the center, right next to the bone. Rest this here while I take the breast off and finish cutting it. You can get a close-up of that and see how juicy that is. There's just no beating this turkey other than the fried one, which is the same, got the same moistness, it's just different taste. It's whatever you like. When I carve this thing, I always cross the breast, just to kind of makes the meat just a little more tender when you put it in your mouth. It's kind of a trick. Everybody should do that. There it is, all carved up. The turkey is not quite as pretty as if I would have carved it for guests. Actually, we're not going to have too many guests today, so I wanted to actually get every piece of meat off this carcass that I could. So it looks a little more like pulled turkey than it does carved turkey, but it is moist in every single crevice of the turkey, and it is actually the best turkey I've ever tasted. Hope you guys give it a try. There's no way a picture can do this justice. You actually have to put it in your mouth and taste it. Thanks, and I hope you subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks from the pit.